Welcome to Magic Gathering Strat. My name is Ted, and this is the Project Grixis version 4 introduction video. So welcome back, and this week I have a small issue that I wanted to address, which was Serum Visions. So, as someone suggested that Serum Visions would help the deck a lot, and I agreed, and that I was planning to purchase them for version 4, and I was planning to purchase a whole playset. That's why I had set aside a little extra money from the previous week. But two things occurred. One is, and this is why I'm on this screen, you can see there's 3 different versions of Serum Visions here. 2 foils and a regular one, and with the 2 foils have different art. And I have one of each in my collection. There's 3 in the deck right here. So why is that? And that is the issue that I wanted to discuss. So I wanted to purchase, let me go first to, then we'll jump to this screen. Okay, Serum Visions. So I typically, the way I record the videos is I do the card purchases on Wednesday, and then play around with the deck a little bit, you know, practice with it. Then I record the introduction video on Thursday. Sometimes I wait till Friday, but basically I record the introduction videos, the gameplay videos, and the wrap-up video Thursday and Friday, and because I need to submit them to the channel by Friday night. So I was watching the price of Serum Visions, and you can see here, you can see it's pretty erratic, and the promotional one was pretty cheap, and it dipped way down on Monday, or actually over the weekend on Sunday. And I was tempted to buy them then, but I said, you know what, let me wait and try and wait till Wednesday as my normal purchase day. But by Tuesday, things had started to get a little crazy, and I decided to purchase the cards that day. So let's go to my order page. And as you can see here, these are the cards that I added in this week, Forked Bolt, Serum Visions, and Watery Grave, which we'll discuss a little bit later. But you can see there's only 1 purchased, and that was because that's all they had. There was only 1, and let me see if it's which one of these screens here. You can see quantity 0 available, 0 available. They have a bunch of the more expensive ones, but that was all I could get. So how do I have 3 then? Well, it turns out that because I guess Serum Visions was the promo that month, which I didn't know. I mean, I knew it was the F&M promo. I didn't know that they had promos on MTGO. And because I buy the tickets in, to make the purchases for the deck and play the games on the 2-man queues on, you know, in batches, I ended up somehow with 2 different promo versions in my account. So that's how we ended up with 3 and only purchased 1. That being said, I am going to count the 2.23 tickets or dollars, however you want to equate it, against our total, because I would have purchased 4 if I could. I don't think it's wise to go ahead and spend, you know, go to, say, MTGO Traders and spend 10 tickets on a Serum Visions, or purchase one of the more expensive copies right now. I'm going to wait and see if I can cherry pick that 4th one at a more reasonable value, somewhere around, say, $3.50 to $4 is what I'm looking at, and then I'll add it in. So for this week, the deck only has 3 Serum Visions, but at least that gets us pretty close to our playset, obviously. And it does make the deck run a little bit better. So let's go now to this screen, and I'll give you a better, actually that's not the screen I want this one. It's a little smaller, but everything's on there. But I'll zoom this out. I'll paste in this image. I'll cut it and then I'll overlay it over the voiceover or whatever. So this was our chart from last week, and you see it's a little different now. The version 1 is gone, and version 2, version 3, version 4. And here are the cards that we added in. We only purchased the 3 Serum Visions, the Fork Bolt, and the Watery Grave, but we had a couple cards in from our out in reserve that I had decided to put back in. So I put back in another Pyromancer, a Dispel, and a Vampiric Link. And here are our cards we took out, and these are the other leftover cards. So, you know, basically what happens is these cards ended up here, these cards got pulled out of the deck, and then now these cards plus these cards ended up here, and these cards got pulled out of the deck, and a couple of cards migrate back and forth from the actual deck and this reserve area. So we'll see that more better when I go to the MTGO screen. The other thing is this part here I think I'm going to remove. It's become a little cumbersome to keep this cost as purchased and value today accurate, because I get the prices for the value today off MTG Goldfish, but when you construct the deck there, I don't believe that it allows you to pick which version. So if I included my Serum Visions, it would have included $7 versions of the card, and I don't think that accurately reflects it. And this is kind of just a bonus thing anyway. So this is going to disappear from the next video. I just highlighted it in red so that you to point that out. But this will continue. This is our ledger, so to speak. And you can see that this week we ended up spending 1081. So how did we get 1081? Well, that came from the Watery Grave and the Fork Bolts. The Fork Bolts were, I think, a dime a piece, so that wasn't a big deal. But the Serum Visions, which I purchased for 223, the one that I purchased for 223, I counted the other two that I got as freebies from MTGO against that total at 223, because that's more realistic. It just happened that, you know, we happened to be in the month where those cards were being given out as promos, and it was a card that we needed for our deck. So I think in the spirit of the project, the better thing is to count it against our total. So we actually have another surplus this week of $4.19, giving us a total of $9.71. And if all holds well, next week with our $15, if we don't purchase our 4th Serum Vision, we might be even able to sneak in a Snapcaster. I don't think that one is going to make a huge difference in the deck, but I think it, you know, it's an opportunity that we can take, or we can continue to add a couple more fetches to our mana base. That's also an option. I think that's good. And because right now the big cards that we're missing are Tasigur, Culligans, Snapcaster, and that 4th Serum Visions. I think pretty much everything else is sideboard cards and you know, tweaks here and there. So we're getting close to where we have to start spending money on, or you know, maybe putting off making a purchase here and there in order to make those larger purchases, and this might be a good opportunity to do so the following week. So now let's go to MTGO, and we can scroll this back up and scroll this down slightly. Let's see, there, it's fine. And so here's the deck as it consists today. You can see we have the added Pyromancer. I took out the Tombstalker. I just wasn't casting enough. It wasn't getting me enough value. Usually the big body is enough. It doesn't need to be flying. And I thought maybe the Young Pyromancer might be a better fit for the deck. So I suspect, though, that when Snapcasters come in, these numbers here will have to be adjusted. I don't think that there's very many, other than Blightning, there's not very many other cards that we can really want to pull out. Maybe a couple counter spells. So we have our Serum Visions. Everything else is pretty much the same, except for I added a Dispel. I find it a little bit more useful. Usually what I want to counter is something like a Cryptic or a Remand for our Angler, or even something like a Path. So I decided to up the Dispels to one more, to 2. We still have our Stubborn Denials. I trimmed them down from 3 to 2. And a Mana Leak, and a Deprive. In the sideboard, I decided to add another Vampiric Link, just because I felt it really just like nails down our burn matchup. So even more so than Dragon's Claw, but Dragon's Claw does also. So I added another link here. I took out the Essence Scatter. That was I wasn't casting that enough at all. And pretty much everything else is the same. I moved the Duress, I think, back out of the main board, back to the sideboard. And that's the deck. So I'll be bringing you some games now with the newer version. I removed one swamp for the Watery Grave. So that's basically the same 20 lands except that one substitution. We still have the Desolate Lighthouse, which I find quite useful. So I'll be bringing you some games real soon. I hope that you like this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Please hit the like button.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. You can find us on Twitter at MagicGathStrat, Facebook /MagicGatheringStrat, or on the web, magicgatheringstrat.com. There you can find articles and free prize-supported leagues. This is all brought to you by our Patreons and cardhoarder.com. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/MagicGatheringStrat.